If you ever wonder how hackers go from having limited access to controlling your system completely without you even knowing, so that's what we will be talking in this video specifically for Linux system, right? So let's start by understanding the fundamental architecture of how Linux security works. So imagine you check into a hotel and you are given a room key card that opens your assigned room, like for example let's say 203, and you also get access to gym and the pool, right? So that's it, you are a regular user with limited access. You can get access to those specific area but nothing more, right? But if we zoom out and see, there are like more people as well on the hotel as well, except you, like hotel staff and hotel manager. Let me actually show you something so you will understand it more better. So you can see right here, you as a regular person has like a specific permission, while the hotel staff has access to multiple rooms. They can do stuff like showing the rooms for the guests and different stuff, while the hotel manager can go everywhere, literally everywhere, because they have the master key, right? So as you can see right here, that's exactly how Linux architecture works. So Linux is basically built in around user and permission model. Every single thing on Linux system that could be file, processes or services is literally owned by someone and has some specific rules, right? Like how and who can interact with it. So what happens is that when you log in to Linux, it essentially asks who you are and what you are allowed to. Like let me show you like this. So right here you can see it's asking for the credential. So when I enter the credential and click on the login, it will just know who am I and what I can do, right? And this same thing, that who am I and what I am allowed to do, is determined by the UID or the user ID. So I will show you how we can check our UID or user ID. If we type the UID in the terminal and we get 0, it means we are a root user and we can literally access everything. It's like equal to the hotel manager, right? And the next one we have is the system user. The user ID of the system user is between like 1 to 999, and these are the user for running services and stuff, and that's in hotel terms it will be equivalent to hotel staff, right? Except the root user and system user, there are like one more user, that is the regular user. So when we normally log in into Linux like this, we will have the regular user IDs starting from 1000 and so on, right? So this is the very first ID of the regular user that is created on the Linux, and when you create second user, it will be 1001, and when you create third, fourth and so on, it will be like increasing. What they can do is that they can only access their own files. Like you can see right here, it will be equivalent to the regular hotel guest, right? So just imagine, in hotel terms, your room number is your UID or the user ID, and that will start from somewhere from 1000 and so on, while the manager room number will be 0, and that is what it will get us access to everything. Like in this case, it's root in the Linux terms, right? So now that we understand who user are by the UID or the user ID and their roles, like what they can do by simply just seeing their user ID. So the next logical question would be, how actually does Linux control who can do what? Before moving towards that, let me actually show you the how we can see our user ID by clicking in the terminal, and let me make it big so you can see it more clearly. And I will just type UID, so that will just show my ID. It's ID, not UID. So you can see right here my UID is 1000. That just means I am a regular user and I can only access my own files, nothing much more like high level stuff. That means I can only access my own file and I cannot actually access the system level files and stuff, right? So now let's just talk about how Linux control what each user can do with the file. So if I type ls and let me just go to downloads, I guess. What I am trying to do is trying to see any file that is present in the download folder. So I don't see any file, so instead I will make my own file, a txt file. What do I name it? I'm gonna just name it hotel.txt, right? So I just made a file that its name is hotel.txt, and inside that file is that text, right? So if I type now ls, I will see the hotel.txt, and if I type the hotel.txt, I just mean to see the content of this file. So we can see we just made a file, and inside a file we put this stuff. So what I'm trying to show you is that on the Linux, every single file and folder has a set of rules, like who can access and who can make file inside it and who can edit it. Like if I say that in the hotel terms, it will mean just like every room has its own lock, right? And only a specific guest can open that. So let's just see how these set of rule for each file and folder works. So over here you can see every file and directory in Linux has three layer of access rule. Like you can see this is it. The first one we have is for the owner, the second one we have is for the groups that that the user of the file belongs to, and the third is for the other, like guest user and other user, right? So first of all we have the permission for the owner, like for example in this case Alice. I hope I am pronouncing it correct. So Alice is this file owner, right? And in hotel term she will be just the room owner, right, or the file owner. So the very first three stuff or letter is for the owner, the second three term is for the groups, right, and in the third three stuff is for the others, like a random hotel guest. So let's understand this from the analogy. So we can see Alice is currently living in the room and she has full access to that room, like literally she can do everything. If I say the same thing in the Linux term, it will just mean that Alice has this file and she has full access over this file. She can just do every single thing on this file. Now let's just talk about the second three stuff. This is for the user, and you can see right here the staff group might have a partial key to clean or maintain the Alice room, so they can just somehow get access into that room. I will just in a moment tell what all this means. Now let's just talk about this three stuff. This is for the others, like a random guest or hotel guest. You can see right here random guests, it just mean maybe someone just or a random guest peek through the windows. They can just read only inside your room if they have the access of read only. Now let's just talk about this one. You can see right here this is for the other random hotel guests and stuff. So it just means that maybe someone can peek through the windows and can read or see only what's inside in the room. Or like let's say you have this room, like let's just take example, you have this room and someone has this room, some another person, and somehow they can just look inside your room through some hole or stuff, right, and can see what's inside. Now let's just make this more clear so you will understand what I mean. So as I show you, we have three blocks. One is this, another is this, and another is this. So we got three blocks, right, and every block as I said, one is for the owner, another is for the group, another is for the others, has its own access. So let's just first understand what does the RWX and this stage mean. You can see it right here. So first of all, what does the R mean? R is just like only read, you can look at the content. In hotel Tom, you can just as I said, look through some window or halls. In the another person room, like you will just only see what's inside that. That's what R is. We can only read the stuff inside that. Or if I tell this in Linux term, it will just mean there is a file and you can only look into content, like what's inside the stuff. Like how we did this, like we made this file and we did cat and hotel.txt. So that just show what's inside in this file, because we have the read permission over this file. So that's how we can see what's inside this. For example, we did not have the read permission for this file, we will not be able to see what's inside in this file. I think I can show you the permission for this file. Let's just see. Oh yeah, so you can see this is the file that we are talking about, and these are the three blocks. This is the first block, This is the second block, and this is the third block. Just ignore this one. This is for file or stuff. We'll just discuss this in a moment so you will understand it. So you can see we are the owner of this file and we have the access to read. So that's why we are able to see the content of this file. Now let's just move next we have the w symbol. So what this mean is right, this just mean right, we can modify or delete a file. In Linux term, let's say there is a file like for example this is the file. We can open this file and edit this file whatever we want to put, and we can also delete this file, right? So that's what the w means. And if we talk for the same symbol w in hotel terms, it will just mean a hotel staff can rearrange the furniture and change things like curtains and different stuff. So let me just go again to the Kali Linux and show you this one as well. You can see right here I have the w permission, and if I type nano, this is just like a notepad but for Linux, and we can actually use this to edit files. So if I type the nano and the file name, yep, you can see the file is open and we can see the content of it inside. Now I can delete this stuff, and or either I can put more stuff and do anything I want. Like I just type this stuff and let me just save it now by pressing the Ctrl plus X key and then Y key and then enter. Now we are done. Let's just press the Ctrl C and see now if it's updated or no. Yep, perfect. We can see the it's updated and we have successfully put new text inside that file. That just mean we can like modify this file. Now let's just see if we can delete the file or no. So I will just use the rm. This just mean the remove, and let's just type this. So we did not get any error. This mean hopefully we have deleted the file. Now let's just confirm it by typing the ls. This will just list all of the file in this current directory. Let's see. Perfect. We don't see any file with the name hotel.txt. Let's just confirm it by typing. What this -la does is it will show even the hidden files. So we do only see this file and this file. We don't see actually any file with the name of hotel.txt. So I hope this makes sense now. And the next one we have is the X symbol. So X just mean execute, and in the Linux term it will just mean we can execute the file as a program. Like for example, this is a shell script. We can actually execute or run this and whatever inside is it will just happen, right? And in the hotel term it will just mean can actually enter and use the room. I think let's just make another room, actually another file, not room. So nano, and let's just type it nano hotel.txt. No, I will instead type the sh because it's executable file. .txt is not executable. So we have created this, and now let's put some shell script inside that and see if it run or no. So I'm just gonna head over to some AI and we'll get a basic shell script. So this is Claude and I give it the stuff that I am making a video on this stuff, and told him that I need a shell script that will help me to understand the e permission or execute permission. Now let's just wait and see what this guy just gave us. Okay, let's just copy this, and before going to the Kali Linux, let's see what it does. Simulates a hotel security game where you try to enter different room, these different stuff. Okay, just go to this guy and paste the stuff over here. Perfect. So this is the script that I copied from Claude, and next just let's save it right now. I will just press Y and press enter, and then again press enter. Okay, so let me just clear the screen so you will see it more better. Now let's just clear if we have put the script inside the hotel.sh or no. I think we have put the script perfectly. So now let's just simply execute the same hotel.sh script by typing // and the hotel.sh. okay, we are getting the permission denied error. Let's see if we have the permission for that file or no. Okay, I will just type s-la. Okay, for this file we don't have actually the execute permission, so what we will do is type chmod. This just means change mode, and we are giving it execute permission, so I will just type +x and then the file name to this file. Okay, it's done. Now let's just check it again. You can see now here we did not have the permission of the execution, and here you can see we got the permission of the execution. Now let's just type this same command, this thing, and see what's going to happen. I think we made a mistake, I guess, so I will just copy all of this stuff because I did not see any simulation. So yeah, I need to copy this, copy here and then go here. I did not see any execution. Okay, let's just use this thing. I think I used the cat command. I'm not sure, but let's just see it. Did I use the cat command? Oh shit, I used the cat command. We will need to use it dot and forward slash. Let's see what's going to happen. Okay, we are seeing this simulation. What just happened? So whatever this script is, it just did some simulation, and what I was trying to understand is the execution permission. Now we can simply go to the this place, and let's just talk about this symbol. Is it minus or hyphen? Whatever that is, it just means permission is denied. If you see like this, like in this case, you can see there is the hyphen sign. It just means the group does not have the right permission. Same is the case for the other user, right? And in hotel term, it will just mean the door is locked to you. You cannot actually enter in the room. Yeah, so to make it more clear, the read, write, execute permission is for the owner. Alice can read, write and execute the file, while the group can only read and execute the file. And for the other, they can just read the file. Like random user can only read the file, nothing else. Like I gave you earlier an example of peeking through the windows into the room, or like seeing it from another room through some hole, if only they have this read permission. Perfect. So now that we understand the security architecture, like we don't know about the user ID, by typing the ID in the terminal, and we will get the user ID of our currently logged in user, and from that we can identify if we are a root user or a regular user or system user, right? And we also talked about the files permission, like the read, write, execute permission. Everything is logged perfectly, and each user can access their own file only. But here is the catch: what if someone break these rules and somehow gets access to someone else's file, or being a regular user and somehow they get access to the system level files, and where they could just modify the files and delete files and do stuff. So that's what we call privilege escalation. So if I make it more easy, it will just mean, what if a guest user somehow get the master key of the manager, and through that master key they can just literally access to every single room, and since they have the master key, they can enter into the guest rooms. So this is actually privilege escalation. In simple term, privilege escalation just mean finding vulnerability and some special ways that will give you higher level permission, like a root permission, or in hotel terms, getting the master key of the manager, like getting access to someone else files and data, or the system permission and stuff. So this is privilege escalation. And you know what, we do have two different types of privilege escalation. One is the vertical escalation and another is horizontal escalation. So let's understand both of them now. So you can see right here on the screen that we will be first of all discussing the vertical escalation. Let me just get water, and after that I will continue. Yeah, so I'm back. So we were discussing the vertical escalation, and as you can see right here, this is the more dangerous and common type of privilege escalation. You start as a regular user and somehow get access to the manager's master key. So in Linux term, it will just mean being a regular user and somehow find a ways to get access to the root where you can like do every single thing on the Linux system. So to make it simple, I have added the hotel analogy. Let's talk about this one. Okay, let's assume now you notice like the manager forgot or for some reason left the master card or master key on the lobby desk, and you are like passing through that area and saw that master card, right? So you saw the master card, and you took the opportunity to by taking the master card, and what would happen is that it will open every single guest room, the safe, the server room, the security office, everything in the entire hotel, right? So you actually went from being a guest to access to your room and the pool and gym to having access to literally everything. Now if I say the same in Linux term, it will just mean like you go from a regular user to root user ID 1 regular user. Let's assume this regular user ID is 1000, you can see right here, and we somehow find weaknesses and misconfiguration vulnerability, and we exploited that, and that exploitation gave us elevated access or the root access. So we just move from regular user to the root user, and you can see right here we had limited access to the room, gym and pool, and like limited area to having full access. So I'm just giving you overview of the stuff. In the coming videos, that will be my main focus to talk about the finding how we can find a weakness in Linux system, and then how we will exploit the misconfiguration or vulnerability that will give us the root access, right? So you can see over here there are some common method that get us the root access, the SUID binaries, the sudo misconfiguration, kernel vulnerabilities, writable system file, and this one as well. So I will be making videos on each of these stuff in the coming days. That will be theory and practical as well, theory for to understand what's happening and why, and practical to see how actually we can explore these stuff. Now the second escalation that I was talking about is horizontal. Remember I told you we have two types of privilege escalation. One is the vertical and another is the horizontal. So let's just talk about this one now. So in this type of escalation, we actually don't go like from the bottom to above, like from a regular user to a root user. What we do in this one is we actually go sideways. Like let me actually go here and show you what I mean by that. So you can see this, let me zoom it. So assume this is one user, this is another user, this is another, this is another, and this is another. Or let's just talk about this one. We have three user. We are currently logged in into this user, and we somehow find ways or do some stuff to get access into this user file. And once we get access to this user file, we will search for the store password and like store credential and stuff. Once we find some valuable information and credential from this user file system, we will then use that information or credential to get access into this user. And let's assume this is a regular user. This is like has slightly more privilege than this user, and as I told you, we are this user and we got access into this user. We find some valuable information like credential and stuff that will help us to give us access to this user, and this assume this is the root user. So this is what we do in the horizontal escalation. We don't go like from bottom to above, from a regular user to a privileged user. In this we go like sideways, like either this way or this way. And if I say this same stuff in the hotel term just to make it easy for you, let's say this is one room, the room you are currently in, and this is another room, and this is another room. So you find out that the door of this room has some broken stuff, and because of that it does not lock properly. Since it does not lock properly, you just somehow get inside this room and find out some valuable information of this user, and you either steal it or whatever you do, and then you use that information to get access to this room. So now I can go back to where I was Yeah, so the hotel analogy, that's what I said. You realize that room 204 is slightly broken and does not, the door to room this is slightly broken, does not lock properly. You walk in and find their valuables and stuff. So in this horizontal one, what happens is that we don't get the manager or the root access directly, but we get access to another user, and we then find out information in that user files to that will give us access to the root user. So in Linux term, as I said, access to another user file or account, and we know that this another user is not powerful as system, but this guy has some secret. So what we do as we as a user Alice, and with the user ID 1000, we find some weaknesses and we exploit those weaknesses to get access to the Bob's file or session, and the user ID for this user is 1001, and we will then look for the files and information inside this user, like for example their private file, still their SSH key if present any, and their stored password or API tokens, and their personal data. So the common ways for horizontal escalation is a weak file permission on home directory for different user, and reading other user bash history file, and bunch of these stuff that we will be talking hopefully in the coming days. So if we combine both types of escalation, it will look like this. We have initial access, we are like this mean we got access to the Alice user, and what we do next is we do the horizontal escalation, steal other user data, and then we find out some valuable information in that data that will give us the admin like finding out admin or root credential. That will just simply mean vertical escalation to root. We just got access to the root, or just directly getting access to the root. That will just call vertical escalation. So we have two choices: either first we do the horizontal escalation, get into another user and then find out valuable stuff, and which will give us the root access. In this one we do both of these escalation techniques, and in this one we get directly root access from low privileged user by exploiting those vulnerability that we will be talking about. If you have any question, let me know in the comments. I will make sure to answer you, and I will see you in the next video. See you soon.